Jake Gibbs will join us. But Ole Miss has never won 11 games. Baylor has never won 12, and they've had opportunities before. But this year they have a chance right in front of them, so someone's going to break a threshold. Someone's going to do something they haven't done in program history. And so we focus first on Ron Roberts, defensive coordinator at Baylor.
Yeah, obviously we're very excited, obviously, to be here, part of a historic Sugar Bowl. So got a great opponent. I think Ole Miss has been very explosive on offense. Got some great players. There's a huge challenge in front of us, but it should be a great ball game.
What do you see from Matt Corral, and what's the defense going to have to do to maybe contain him a little bit?
Yeah, Matt's he's got a live arm. He's athletic. He can extend plays. He create plays. I think sometimes he's got eyes on the sides of his head. He sees receivers. I don't know how he's seeing them sometimes. He's very impressive quarterback. So one of the things we got to do is make sure we got to make him a little uncomfortable. We're going to have to pressure him. We've got to have an effective rush, because if he sits back there and has time to go to a second, third progression and do that stuff, he's dangerous, and he'll just keep the sticks moving. So we got to be an effective pass rush, and then the biggest thing is keeping him in the pocket's another thing. Not let him extend plays, get out of the pocket, and find those receivers down the field.
Hey, Coach, you had I believe you were Coach Aranda's first hire when he took the job at Baylor. How long have you known him? What's that relationship like? And what was it that led to you saying yes so quickly to joining this staff?
Yeah, I guess I've known him for about 20 years. Yeah, probably goes back to around 99, 2000. I think one thing is just it's been a relationship that's kind of been built off the fact that we're both the kind of football junkies, love talking, love studying the game. And then, obviously the opportunity to get back with him was huge. I mean, it was a no-brainer at that point for where I was at, to be around him, know what type of person he is and how he's going to treat players. And he's a very genuine person. He's one of the true nice guys in his profession. And, I was very excited about the opportunity. So to me, it wasn't even a second thought. I said yes before he told me his salary. How about that one?
When you sort of look at stopping this offense, what are sort of the principles that you guys follow as a defense to slow down this spread?
Yeah, first of all, it's like any other time, is that it's about stopping the run. The one thing they do have, they got incredible running backs. Ely and Snoop are really good football players. So they got a running back core that's pretty outstanding, and it starts with running the football. You got to do that, and then with him, it's a lot about they go so fast. So the biggest key is really make sure you get your cleats in the turf and get lined up. So many times their tempo of their game is so much faster than anything else you're seeing, that you flip on the game film and so many people can't even get lined up. And a lot of explosive comes off of that. And then they wear people out just because of their tempo. Guys getting tired and not rushing the quarterback, and then they're just, letting receivers open. So that's going to be huge. I mean, it really is. But it's adjusting to the tempo of the game, realizing how fast it's going to go, and then being able to stop the run and get us in some situations where we know he's going to throw the football. We can tee it up. We can go after him. And we'll have a much better chance at that point to have some rush integrity and be able to keep him in the pocket and put him in tight quarters and make him throw the ball in tight windows.
You got Christian Morgan back, as well as Kalen Barnes back for the Oklahoma State game in the Big 12 championship. Played a limited, but they still played for you. And the fact that you've got them a month later, are they pretty much well healthy that they can give you a full game, or what can you expect from those two?
They could both. I think they both could give a full game. I think they're capable of that. Christian probably would be the one that we would have any concerns about. How much he goes, how long he goes. It's really kind of a lot of what situations gets in him. So I think they're both healthy and they're both ready to play. You know, I also there's a chance that McVay stepped up and had an outstanding football game in the championship game. So I think they're both available and they're both ready to go.
You were talking earlier about working with Dave. You were his boss. Now he's your boss. How's that kind of relationship been? How much leeway, if that's the right word, does he give you at directing the defense? Because now he has head coaching responsibilities. Also on Petrie, how much do you think? What do you think about so many guys opting out for bowls? He came back. He's playing. What does that say about him, and how much of an example has that set for the rest of the team?
Okay. The first one, I'm not just hearing back. Okay. I think the relationship's good. Again, as far as his, he's got a lot of things on his plate. Obviously, sitting here as a Power 5 head football coach, as far as where he steps, most of his focus is on our players and recruiting. He does a tremendous job of recruiting, but probably does a better job actually with our football player, our current team, just making sure on a daily basis that he's putting them first, and he has a lot of daily meetings with our players and stuff. So he's a very busy person. So obviously, yeah, I'm thankful for that. The opportunity, the amount of trust he's put into me to lead the defensive side of the ball. And, obviously I say it all the time, though, I wish he was in our meetings more. I enjoy talking football with him. That was, that's obviously one of the things I love doing. So when you look at Jalen, his ability, to not opt out, I don't know if that was ever a question with him. The kid, he loves football. So I think if you put the ball down in the park and said on Sunday afternoon at noon and said that there's going to be a pickup game at the park and there was going to be some pretty good players and let's go see how we can do, I think he'd turn around and play again on Sunday.
Ron Roberts in that defense, you hear a lot, and it's kind of unfair to Ron Roberts because of Dave Aranda's what he is defensively, and then even others on that staff. But Ron Roberts has done an incredible job with what he did, and the fact that they used to coach together, and he mentioned that as well. That defense is pretty good. And I mean, is there anything he said during that time? We know that Corral's the guy that could be the straw that stirs the drink because of his experience, because he's damn good as well on what they do defensively.
Yeah, I think the biggest key is just keeping him in the well. Can you keep him from beating with your feet? Because when the Baylor defense has had real problems this year with mobile quarterbacks, it's because everything's covered downfield, but they don't have anybody that can wrangle them up. Like I think about Chandler Morris in the game that he had running the ball. I mean, throwing the ball was fantastic, but running the ball is what really kind of stung them a little bit on those 3rd and 7s where you've got everything covered downfield, and then all of a sudden he goes and runs for 11 yards. So those are the things I worry with Matt Corral. I think they can get after him a little bit, but like when you get back there, when you make him break contain, you got to bring him down. You can't just let him sit back there and create.
Well, he's way better than all those other guys that burned him. He's so much better than Chandler Morris. He's light years beyond the Texas State quarterback whose name I don't even remember. No disrespect, but it's just been a while. He's really dangerous, but at the same time, he can sit back there and throw it. He's only thrown 4 interceptions this year. It's not like he's a turnover machine that you can just hope that they're gonna have to draw him into some things if they're gonna expect him to turn the ball over. And if he's out there running, they got to be smart, obviously, in this day and age of how you hit him. If he's not sliding, but if you do get a chance to, you better pop him good and leave him mark. So maybe he's a little bit more hesitant, but he's a gamer. He's gonna go down fighting, scratching, clawing. I would expect the same thing from the Baylor guys, though. I mean, for every second we talk about Matt Corral in the NFL and what a big game this. I mean, it's the same thing for Terrell Bernard and Jalen Petrie and all those guys. And if anything, they had more of a long storied and up and down roller coaster emotional career than Matt Corral had at Ole Miss because of all that they went through. So it's just as meaningful to those guys. I'd say the other thing too about Ron Roberts kind of getting overshadowed. Well, no different than Lane Kiffin and whoever's running the offense at Ole Miss. Yeah. Jeff Lebby's getting some attention more than Ron Roberts certainly, but I think a lot of that lately is just because he's going to Oklahoma. He got some attention throughout the year, rightfully so, but what does it always come back to? It comes back to Lane Kiffin, right? It's Lane Kiffin still has say in the offense, and so I think it's a similar dynamic just on opposite sides of the ball. But my biggest concern for Baylor is not Matt Corral or the secondary, whatever. My personal biggest concern for Baylor is them getting worn down. That's my concern, because the offense goes out there with Gary Bohannon and they can't move the ball or they can't stay on the field, and they give the ball back, and then they get, in the first couple drives, that'll be fine. But if that happens over and over and over and over again, that's going to be a tired bunch. And, quite frankly, you look at them and who have they played this year where it's like super up-tempo, like the old Baylor style? Nobody really. I mean, maybe moments here and there, but for the most part, like not even Oklahoma was really that way against them. So that's my concern, is just the up-tempo nature, because I saw what that did to great defenses when Art Briles was doing that,
I don't think these teams have really played anybody like each other all year long. I mean, Ole Miss might have overlapped a little bit, more. I mean, some of their opponents, but really the way that the offenses work in the SEC now and the teams that they play, like, who's running outside of A&M's running kind of a power offense or anything like that? Not really, so yeah, I think that's what I'm interested to see in this, is like how can you compare what Ole Miss has done? You can't compare, Ole Miss to anybody Baylor's played at all. I mean,
I know this, that Ole Miss has given up a lot of yards on the ground. And you could talk about Ole Miss wearing out Baylor with the up-tempo, which is what we used to see, 10, 11, 12 years ago up until 2016. Well, there's no question. And that's why when I was asked earlier this week at a show, I said, to me, the key word is tempo. You're going to give up some of the tempo, but you got to also dictate that some of yourself. If Baylor can dictate the tempo and then pound the ball with what they do with their running game, that keeps Ole Miss off the field. And you hope it's not because they scored in 3 plays and they're already off the field. And the same thing if Ole Miss, I saw what they did to A&M with that up-tempo, or what Mississippi State did against a really, really good defense, And so that's very much a key. Couple of other go ahead.
No, I agree. I think Baylor should have success running the football, but to do that, they're also going to have to throw the football. And Gary Bohannon, I don't want to make it sound like he's not a good player by any means. I feel like I kind of like starting to go in that direction, but like it's more that he's just going to be imperative that he makes the throws. Like if he's not making throws, they're in trouble, because they're not going to be able to just sit there and run and run and run and run and run. So, it's not only on Bohannon either. It's on the receivers to make the tough catch. And I saw one of the Ole Miss guys, I think it was a couple days ago, making the comment about, it's one of their receivers, making the comment about, the fight in the air and how they take pride in making the tough catch and being the more physical team. Well, Baylor's a pretty physical team too, so it's going to be, 2 physical teams duking it out, but also doing it with some finesse and some style. And I think it's a very intriguing matchup, but it's going to come down to, for me, Baylor and that defense staying off the field, not being out there all day long, and to do that, they're going to have some success on offense, and they're going to have to also, get some short stops. They're not going to have, be able to allow 10, 11 play drives over and over again.
183 yards a game on the ground is what Ole Miss gave up. And again, there's that fast-tempo offense that sometimes means you have to give defensively, like we saw for years under the Coach Briles offense. 2 college notes and then a break. We come